Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This is a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fiction genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Falling Water. Another great episode. This episode's actually kind of depressing, especially when you talk about Sabine's side of things. She actually tried to kill herself just because it's like, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's like for her, it's like she's given up hope. Because it's like, yeah, she knows she didn't do what she did. Yeah, she might have been controlled, but she still feels responsible. Because, like, for one, not only did she kill someone, she killed her boyfriend's mom. It's like, no matter what, even if I was being controlled or whatever, I still did it. Taka's telling her not to give up. It's like, we'll catch the guy. You don't have to worry about it. But she's like, no, just forget about me, because she just wants Taka to move on. She wants Tess to move on. Tess visited her. It's like, hey, you're my sister. I'm not going to give up on you. But it's just, for her, it's just, I mean, that's just so heartbreaking, and it sucks, because there's even something Taka brought up to Alex, because Alex is like, like, what's the connections between all of these, like, cases? Like, why did she, because it was something I brought up too, like, why specifically Kumiko? Like, I mean, the thing is, Taka knows that Kumiko could, like, know his true identity, but it's like, oh, Kumiko doesn't talk as like what she talks in her dreams. So it's like, well, yeah, there's that. But the thing is, how did he know? I guess he tracked Kumiko back. I guess James is very good at keeping himself hidden, hence why he never went after James. But even at this point in time, he's yet to actually go after any of them. Maybe it's because he doesn't actually, I don't know, because he went after Taka, but he probably doesn't know about Taka's connection to Burton, to Tess, and to James. So it's just one of those things. But it's like, was it just to keep Kumiko's mouth shut about that, or was there something else? Like, could, like, Bennett know more about Kumiko that she didn't want Kumiko talking about? I mean, it's kind of interesting, because this season we actually didn't actually hear Kumiko talk in her dream. She pointed Taka in the right direction, but she wasn't actually talking to him. Maybe at that point in time, like, maybe if she tapped into her powers too much as a dreamer and used them, maybe she was afraid they'd track her down much more easily. I don't know. But, yeah, Sabine was just collateral, and it's just like, you see it, it's just like rattling her. And she's even telling Tess, like, hey, this will probably be the last time we see. She's like, one way or another, I'm going to die in here. Which I'm sure for her, maybe it means, you know, because I was wondering, I was like, oh, has Shadow Man come after her like he did Morrison? I thought that was going to be the case. But it's like, as I said at the time, I was like, I was pretty sure like Sabine was going to be okay, because him going after Morrison, again, like when Morrison was in prison, that wasn't about like, oh, I'm going to, shut you up in prison or something kind of loose ends. It's like, no, it was more of a, oh, this is personal, so I'm coming after you. I want you to know it's me that basically destroyed your life, made you do what you did. But the fact of the matter is, he didn't go to Sabine. I guess just like I said, she was the weapon, so she wasn't needed, and so he's just leaving her alone. But what's kind of interesting too is that whole Morrison angle hasn't come up yet, like about like Morrison going crazy. I guess Taka or Alex haven't visited him subsequently since. Well, we haven't cut back to that since the last time Tom like went after Morrison again. Or like I said, probably driving him a little nuts. But there hasn't been word of like, oh, he's dead or something. So I don't know. But we also got to reveal that apparently Tess isn't Sabine's real sister. That the fact of the matter is, even their mom isn't her real mom. Like, Tess was brought to them when she was like 3 years old. It's like, whoa. Because I was wondering, because it's like, wow, I was like, oh, is she telling Tess this because it will motivate Tess not to care about her as much? But it's like, no, it's because I don't think we'll see each other again that I'm telling you this. So I was like, that's super depressing. I did like that beautiful moment at the end, though, when Taka visit her in her dream, and like he's wearing that white suit, she's wearing a white dress. That's some kind of a wedding day thing, but it's like, that were they engaged or something? I thought they were just boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, I don't think the whole fiance. So it might have just been like, you know, it's like, oh, the thought of like a wedding day is probably always one of her like places to escape to, is kind of her thought. So maybe that's what it was, like in her dreams and stuff, because it's only like safe haven she has left, because, you know, can't trust herself in her own mind. So, but Taka coming to her and be like, don't give up, you know, because I need you, like, need you, and they kiss and everything. He got the tear rolling, and they did such a beautiful job when they cut back to him in the real world. His nose is bleeding from the machine, but he's got a tear rolling. I'm like, that was beautifully done. I thought that was kind of a nice, like, somber yet sweet thing. So, but like I said, I hope things don't turn out bad, especially for Tess or Taka, because this is just, there might not be any coming back for them. Because in this episode too, like, Taka and Alex's captain like calls him into his office. It's like, so I heard you visited Hold. It's like, what was that about? human trafficking. Oh, did you tell the FBI? Well, Taka can't necessarily talk about the fact is that Burton went to the FBI. I think it'd be a little easier maybe, but then again, this isn't an official investigation they're doing, so I guess it doesn't really matter if they bring it up. But he's working with Burton, who had a connection to the FBI, so the FBI kind of shut the case down and one of their agents died, so there's that. But the fact is the captain's like, oh yeah, Taka, you should take some time off. Would this have anything to do with your mom? Which makes me wonder, why did he specifically say that? Maybe it just seemed like it was out of nowhere. Not unless he knows that Taka's been like, no, there's gotta be more to this case. Like maybe it's like Sabine or something. He's like, no, someone else did it. It wasn't Sabine. There's gotta be something else to it. Maybe he'd heard Taka talk about that. Maybe he heard whispers about. Maybe Alex had visited him in the past about Taka's thoughts that someone else kind of did it. Or the same thing for the Morrison thing. Or maybe it's just a situation of like, oh, you're going into other cases you shouldn't be dealing with. It's like that's an FBI case. Let the FBI handle it. Or you just trying to bury yourself in work because of your mom. Like that's what I'm assuming he might have meant. But then, like I said, going back to it's like, why would you make the connection between Hold and Taka's mom? I don't get that. But then again, it starts making me think, especially when he's watching him. Like, obviously, Alex is like, okay, we got to keep doing our work. At least like work on this whole like Shadow Man thing, on Bennett/connection, like on the side, but also doing our job. Because if we do it like this, the captain won't really suspect anything, but he's watching him in the episode, so part of me wonders like, does he know more than he's letting on? So I really appreciate Alex, because even when it's all said and done, Alex is like, yo, I got your back during this, like no matter what happens. She's like, she's got to see this through just as much as Taka has, because it's one of those situations where it's like her eyes are open to it and she can't turn a blind eye to it, especially because like as we learned about her last episode, like the whole connection of like, oh yeah, like she worked sex crimes and stuff like that, everything that this is associated with the human trafficking angle, like that's enough, even more reason to kind of take action with this whole situation. But I love that the fact is they do know Tom. They ended up trailing everything back, and ultimately it led to them finding his ex-wife and his daughter, which Alex talked to. The moment Alex went to go see them, she's like, oh, I'm gonna talk to him. I'm like, please don't. Nothing happened, but it's because I'm paranoid, because I get the feeling like the moment Tom finds out, he's coming after Alex and her girlfriend, because it's not going to end well. Because that was, Alex's big fear, like, oh, I'm gonna stay away because I don't want to take the chance that Shadow Man comes, so. But the reason why I'm even more terrified, because it's kind of interesting, because his ex-wife is like, oh yeah, it went past pushing, which is like, what does that mean exactly? She never really went into details. It's just that she has a restraining order against him, but she's like, yeah, my daughter only knows about the pushing. She thinks that's all there is to it, but it's like, apparently there was more to it. Like, I mean, pushing is all we saw in the flashback, but I wonder what else did he really do that kind of made her go a little, made her scared of him like that, even more so, But the moment she let Alex left her car with Emily, I was like, this isn't good. Because Emily's, she's going to look out for her dad. She's like, I haven't really talked to him or whatever. She isn't going to really talk about the fact that she very recently talked to him. She's like, but keeps asking, is her dad in trouble? And Alex is, trying to avoid talking too deeply about it. So just like, oh, I got to talk to your dad. But the thing is, I'm worried that once Emily tells her dad, it's like, yeah, there's this cop in particular. Her name's Alex. And then, the moment it happened, I was thinking like, oh man, he's going to target her this episode. He didn't. Doesn't mean he won't in the future. I feel like that's what that's set up for. I'm like, please don't let something happen to Alex or her girlfriend. I hope it doesn't turn into something terrible like that, dude. I'm scared. Like I said, because Alex is in the know. She's the only person outside of this dream stuff that knows the truth. She's kind of been brought in, and I'm like, oh, they're just gonna keep. I'm like, don't. Because like, yo, like her and Taka make a cool team. Just like this, especially her being like, yo, solve the case. She's like, okay, so actually you handle this. I'll go talk to the wife. Actually put in some work. Don't leave everything with me. Oh, give me my pen back. Nah, I'm going to keep it. Just their back and forth. I like it, There was also something, too, that came up interesting. Well, kind of along this, like I said, because eventually everything led them to the homeless shelter. And then there's also like, oh, yeah, about Frank with the whole tongue thing. But it was something Alex brought up. She's like, what about, she's like, yeah, dreamers, isn't it too late? And why is it happening now? It's also interesting too, because he's only had his abilities for like a few months, but he's been able to do so much. Because even the others like got their powers last season. Like it's something that I feel like they're expanding upon, but never really talking about. Apparently making it seem like they've always had these abilities in some shape or form, but maybe they didn't manifest themselves as powerful as they are now. Like they've probably always been able to do what they've been able to do but I guess maybe it's just because Tom's a little older than them or something like that. I don't know. I guess maybe the argument could be that they have always had these abilities, but they just never were aware of them and what they were capable of until they got older, until the events of season 1, essentially, so. And they keep bringing it up like, oh yeah, like there's no telling what age a dreamer's abilities will come up. And Alex is like, huh. Immediately my brain kind of goes, is this kind of their way of foreshadowing Alex becoming one? Because I kept throwing it out there. It's like, they might set it up to make it so that Alex might eventually become a dreamer herself. I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting. Like for now, it seems like she's set up as just a normal person, but we'll see. Like I said, as they said, because as we've seen, James is the youngest one with the ability currently, I mean, there might have been people younger in the past, whatever the case may be. And as we can see, people of varying ages have the ability. So I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting thing I thought in the back of my mind. Really quickly, I want to talk about Woody. Like I had a thought about the whole like Whitaker and Bennett situation that they would find out. I threw that as a possibility. I was like, because I didn't think he would remember his dream, but I guess in this, because it seemed like, because the thing is like, because he was so okay with talking about his dream to Bennett. That was like, I'm like, because he didn't go, why do you need to know about my dream? It's like the moment he talked, it's like, oh, I had a dream. She's like, did you dream? And he was like, yeah. So does Whitaker know? Does he know what Woody does? Or is he aware of what dreamers can do and that he just doesn't know that Woody's one of them? Or, it seemed like he might know, since, like I said, since he was, like, it seems like it's such a weird thing that he'd just be like, okay, yeah, you need me to talk about my dream? Sure. But I guess it's like, Bennett asked you to do something, you do it type of thing, I guess, so. But the fact is he brought up Woody in a dream. I guess it was also the aspect of like, well, you don't always remember your dream. But I guess in his particular case, like, of course he'd remember it. And then Bennett's like, yeah, I like the fact that Bennett's kind of like, okay, so this relationship's over. It's like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, you basically screwed up and there's no point in saving you because you're not worth the trouble. And he's like, I will tell what I know. And it's like, you do that and you will end up just like Holt. It's like, wait, you did? Yeah, I suggest you kind of just back the hell down. So Bennett can be very threatening when, like I say, I don't think she's necessarily like 100% in charge. I think in this particular case she is, but she does make it seem like she does have partners. There are connections. Like I said, this is like a huge conspiracy thing. Hence why I kept thinking like, is Taka and Alex's captain, is he in on this too? Or, something like that. But nevertheless. But they send Shadow Man after Woody, who gets a visit from Burton because Burton wants to is like, I need your help with this whole thing. I did like Woody's dream, that like almost like a 1920s style like club, and having Harding as a singer. It's so interesting to me. Like Woody, it's so weird when it comes to like relationships. Like his relationships with ladies is weird. Like I brought up season 1 with Hold's wife, that whole weird situation of like, oh yeah, you like someone and she's married and stuff like that. So what do? You incept her dreams and you make her dream of having an affair with you to the point that you're literally driving her insane because she feels paranoid and weird, which does beg the question, did Hold know about that? I mean, it's a dream, so how would he know? But I mean, he knows more about that world and everything, having Woody work for him and everything. But along those same lines, it's like, his whole situation with Harding is like, well, you were sitting there to like secretly spy on her and everything, but you secretly develop a crush on her and really care for her. But the fact of the matter is, even borderlining having sex with her in her dream / your dream, like not only in her dream, but also in this one when he was about to make out with her, but it turns out to be the Shadow Man. It's just like I said, you don't have the most stable relationships, bro. Like, what's up with that? Because it was even something Burton kind of made references to Hold's wife situation could being like, oh yeah, like, you have a tendency to manipulate people, which is kind of interesting too, that Woody was kind of like, what? They're impregnating women and trying to get their dreamer babies. No, they're not. It's like, well, you were literally part of the same situation when it came to Tess. You were literally part of trying to sell James, which is, I'm like, why were you having a hard time believing that? You were literally part of that similar operation. What are you talking about? The fact of the matter is, now I think about it too, Woody's a part of the whole thing that, Tess's mom is a part of. So he might actually have more answers about the whole, like, because he grew up in that what's the place called her mom runs? Like he was a part of that. We learned that in season 1. That's how him and Tess know each other. They've known each other for a long time. So it's like that could be a connection there on Tess finding out more about, herself and everything. Nevertheless, the Shadow Man coming after him like that, and it put things in interesting perspective because I didn't even think about it until they pointed out. It's like, oh yeah, the Shadow Man actually came after Woody himself. Normally, he uses someone else as a weapon, or he kind of puts the person in a situation to end up killing themselves. But Woody woke up with his arm. Well, he literally tried to strangle Woody in his dreams with his bare hands. Kind of, for one, showing you how powerful he is, because it's something that others kind of brought up too. They're like, this is the first time a dreamer's tried to kill another dreamer. Like, that's never happened so far in this everything, because like I said, because this is actually also the first time that he's going after a dreamer directly, because everyone else he's going after have just been regular people. This is the first time he's going up against someone with abilities as well, and it seemed like even Woody couldn't do anything about it but I guess it's also because because I was wondering, I was like, oh, is that supposed to represent like, oh, he brought the dream world into the real world? Like I said, it doesn't seem like that's his ability. The reason why I'm saying that is because Woody's arm was on fire. It's just one of those things that, like, his arm reached out during the struggle in the dream, and then, like, because his arm was burning in real life, he ended up. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's a situation of because it was burning in the dream and, like, reality kind of shifted to kind of fit that narrative, So, like, his dream shifted because reality was shifting it like that, because his arm was. You get what I'm saying? So that was just kind of an interesting development. He's lucky Burton was there to save him, especially after everything that he's kind of done and been a part of. Like, Burton didn't have to, but it's like for Burton, it's like, well, we need to, because Laney's gone, and like he's the only one that's left that could pull this all together. And even Laney, I'm like, why would you do that? Don't do that. She's like, yeah, but she'd rather take her chances on her own. It's like, maybe I don't get why you would do that, especially because this is a large-scale conspiracy. These people have killed a lot of people. The Shadow Man will come after you. But, I mean, to be fair, she's not defenseless. She does have her ability. She is an engineer, so she can hide herself away. So it won't be that easy to track her down, So, also, I'm curious what people like Woody are called. Like, would Woody be considered a skater like Burton? Because his abilities kind of relate to a certain extent, but it seemed more like his or, I don't know, like, I don't know if Woody's would necessarily be considered like a skater. Like I said, because it seemed like the Shadow Man and Woody's abilities are kind of similar in that sense. But I went into a lot more discussion about that last episode, so I won't really, reiterate it or anything, so. But I do like it when it's all said and done. Like, we do got our team together. We got Bill, even though we still don't really trust you, Burton, Tess, Woody, Taka, and Alex, and it's just like, yo, this the squad, Team Dreamer or Team Dream, whatever the case we want to call them. But I love it's like, but now this does make everything even extra scary, because it's like he's so powerful that he doesn't even have to just manipulate us to kill ourselves or get other people to kill us. It's like he can come kill us himself if he wants to. So, but the question is, that's what I'm wondering, like, why hasn't he come after them? He's seen James, he's seen Taka, he's seen Burton, he's seen Tess, but like he saw them, wasn't in like episode 3 he saw them, but might have been 2, but nevertheless, he hasn't come after them yet, which is like, why not? That's the question kind of going off in the back of my head. Then again, he is taking his assignments, especially because things are going to get a lot more dangerous now, because management is like, yo, if you don't take care of this, Emily's life won't kind of work out the way you think it would. Which is like, it's one thing, it's kind of like, well, this is it is like her college or whatever, so it's like, is it really that big of a deal? But then again, he's kind of a sociopath, like to the point, like, he wants everything to be in a particular order. Like, if things don't work out, like, because for him, he felt like he got screwed over by Morrison. It's like, by Sam, it's like, oh, I got fired my entire, it's like, no, life doesn't work, It's like, so for him, he's going to make sure life works out for his daughter, especially because he's like, oh, as a dad, I have to make sure everything works out for you anyway. So like, if things don't work out with college or whatever, it's like, working out with this whole scholarship thing, he feels like he probably failed her. So there's goodness in his intentions. Obviously, he's just not a good person in general for everything that he's doing. And he does it with a smile because he legitimately enjoys it. I think that's why he's gotten to his ability so quickly. Because I've never seen, Because let's not forget what he did. He started off with making a guy bite his tongue off, and what happened? He got excited. He smiled because that darkness was already there. It just took learning he could manipulate it into, the Shadow Man situation. He really enjoys his work, which is kind of sad. But especially now that, Emily's future might be threatened, he's going to go try even harder. And once again, now that Alex's name is kind of thrown in the picture, I'm just waiting for the moment for Emily to tell that to her dad. And like I said, Alex went back home with her girlfriend because it's like, yo, your couch is fine and everything, but I kind of miss my girlfriend. So I'm just scared that that's going to be the circumstances, whatever the case may be, whether it be like getting her girlfriend to kill Alex. I feel like it's more like, I don't know, she might pull a Sabine type of situation. He might pull a Sabine type of situation, but we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that. It's kind of an interesting thing on two different things. One, I didn't realize that they were implying that basically they were impregnating the dreamers. I didn't realize that. I thought the whole point was like, oh, these people are dreamers. Oh, and we also found out they're pregnant, so we're going to kidnap them. I thought that was the point. I didn't really realize I was like, oh, we're impregnating them. I kind of thought that might have been the thing, but I thought it was more so like, no. Like, I was like, I know they're dastardly, but they wouldn't be doing it. It's like, no, apparently that seems to be the case, which implies, because Tess never brought it up to like the dad of her child. And I was like, well, now we know why. And I mean, to be fair, not unless Tess did get pregnant beforehand, but then they were just like, oh, we can't miss this opportunity, or they did impregnate her. I feel like it has to be like the former instead of the latter instead of the former, so we'll kind of see. But that was kind of an interesting, like, a misconception I had. I was like, wow, they're impregnating you. Like, the question is the same person the dad, or just a different dads? Like, or is it just kind of like, like, how is that? I mean, is the father in these situations a dreamer as well, or is it just some Joe Blow? Like, could it be one of the people at the top, or, because it is something that Woody kind of gets at. The fact of the matter is, Shadow Man isn't the only dreamer under Bennett's, like, watch. Like, she's got many different dreamer assassins she could send away. It just seems like, Tom has become their, it's actually kind of interesting. I didn't even think about this. The actor who plays Tom, J.R. Bourne, was recently in another show last year, somewhere between, which, interesting enough, I covered for Super-Fanta-Fi, where he also played a character named Tom. It was kind of interesting. I just thought that was kind of funny. It's just something kind of back in my head. I just thought about it now. But nevertheless. But the other thing I was thinking about, too, was about the whole Lainey situation. Is even Tess admitted, she was like, yeah, she was more so hoping that Lainey would stay around, because if Lainey remembered about her situation, it would help Tess learn more about herself. Like, that kind of sucks about Tess, because for her, it's like, man, not only, is everything happening on top of all this, there's the Sabine situation. There's also finding out, oh, actually, like, that's not really my family, but it's like, no matter what, Sabine, you're always going to be my sister because I love you. But then on top of that, it's like, you've still got that part of your life that you're only, like, all this stuff is kind of bringing up the aspects of like, yeah, I've kind of never really taken time to investigate, like, that missing time I had, so what happened to me, so what was done to me. So that's something. And you also had Burton. I thought it was going to be like Burton kind of getting messed with the whole, like, Shadow Man getting to him thing, but it was like, no, it seems like it was more so his own, because, like, it ties into Burton at the end, because Burton blames himself, because he blames himself for Hold's death, even though he shouldn't, because Hold was like a piece of crap. It's just because it's like, for him, it's like, because I started this investigation, a lot of people are dead. Even if Hold is a guilty person, he should have gone to jail. He didn't deserve to die. It's kind of in his mind. And the same thing for that FBI agent. She was just helping him, and it got her killed. And so he feels so responsible. He feels bad because he's dragging so many people. Like, what happens to Sabine only happened to them, and what happens to her and what happened to James and Tess is his fault too, in his mind, because it's like, because he tried to take down the firm, he ends up dragging all their lives down, and he kind of blames himself for it, which Tess reassures him. It's like, no, like, the safest place I could be right now is with you. And then they proceed to make out, because I'm like, yeah, you've been leading up to this. I was like, that's because it started here. I was like, wow, this is actually going to become a thing, isn't it? And totally is, which I'm kind of cool. I'm like, yeah, because it's obviously like there was a relationship kind of being built there. Also, interestingly enough, I haven't brought him up. Tess brought up Jeremy. It's like, right, where is he? And who the hell does he work for? Because I don't know if he's working with this whole Bennett situation. Could Bennett have secretly been trying to recruit Tess? I mean, there's the whole buying James and everything, but it's like, oh, there's so much about that. Like, because I feel like Jeremy kept trying to make it seem like he was with a different group, not the ones that were necessarily after James. So, is there another group out there that's trying to battle Bennett? Or is it one of the people that actually works for, like I said, like one of like another top tier, part of management? I wonder who's that person that keeps talking to Tom. I assumed it was Bennett, but not unless it's someone that works for Bennett. We don't know. There's a voice modulator, so. But what if Jeremy works for someone that works alongside of Bennett, like one of the other top dogs in this like conspiracy of dreamers? I don't know. The storyline we haven't cut back to yet. I mean, he has made sure to steer clear, but it might be a situation where they might need his help eventually. Especially like once again, still don't know what the hell Bill is hiding. Like, cause I threw it out last episode. It's like, oh, what if Bill's the baby daddy of Lainey's baby? It's like, well, turns out that's not the case. But it's just like I said, Burton brought it up last episode. What else is Bill hiding? Like, which I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, overall, a great episode. Very interested to see where the next episode takes us. Like I said, everyone is together. Shadow Man's going to definitely be on the hunt. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. I mean, it's actually kind of a dual side hunt because it's like they know Shadow Man's identity. He doesn't necessarily know theirs. Like I said, but they probably won't stay quiet for long, especially with Bennett's connections and stuff like that. So it might be only a matter of time. So we'll just have to wait and see. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Until the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good